Could you use a quick tip daily? How about a tip that can impact your day? My name is Raphael. Join me as I bring you tips by experts around the world. These experts have shared their knowledge and wisdom with me and will directly share them with you. Make sure to subscribe, like, follow, and comment, and I would love for you to become part of the New Tip Daily community. Don't sign anything. It doesn't matter what pen they give you. Don't sign anything until you've done your due diligence of what? Reading. So, for example, in the old days, some contracts were written like this. Let me share with you what some contracts are like now, right? So this is a contract on a recurring payment. It's a membership contract. Some contracts are one page, some could be many pages. I've had to deal with a contract, certain points that were about 60 somewhat pages. And of course, at that point, you need a lawyer because it's so much jargon in there that maybe you don't understand it. So here's what one thing that I did. I many years ago when I was pretty new to this. I'm talking about 1992. I was going into my first brick and mortar business, and they gave me a thick contract for a 10-year lease. And so what I did is I said, "Great," and they said, "Well, have your lawyer look at it, and then we'll talk further." Okay. So I hired a lawyer. Wow. That was my first understanding of how important it is to read. My lawyer gets back to me in a couple of weeks and he goes, "Everything looks good. Just sign it and we'll get this thing done." I had this feeling. It was a really good feeling, thank God. But I said, "Let me read what you want me to sign." Because he said, "I made some notes and so forth." Can I tell you, I read it and I was like, "What? He wants me to sign this?" And I kept reading and reading, and oh my gosh, I was basically signing almost my life away. And I said, "No." And so I went with my highlighter and I highlighted. I mean, it looked like it was a yellow highlighter. The whole thing looked like a yellow document. Why did I do that? Well, because there were certain things that I was not willing to do, willing to commit to. And I said, no to this, yes to this. This has to be changed. And of course, I wrote it and I did addendums and so forth. I didn't know. I didn't know any better. But I learned really quick. I sent it back to the lawyer. And of course, he said, "Oh, yeah, we can fix that." I'm like, "We can fix that." Meanwhile, you didn't catch it. He sends it back to me. Wow. A lot of the things that I had highlighted were not fixed. And until we went back and forth, I said, "Did you even read anything?" "Oh, well, I have a lot of contracts I have to read all the time." I said, "Well, I'm paying you to read mine. You should be reading mine." Back and forth until we finally submitted something. And then the other side said, "There's certain things we need changed." Okay. You know what they send me back? The original agreement. I said, "Oh no." Back and forth, back and forth. I finally said to them, listen, you're no longer dealing with my lawyer, you're dealing with me. So when you want me to look at a contract, please don't send it to this person. Send it to me because I'm the one reading this agreement. I'm the one that's going to be signing it. At the end, I did not pay the lawyer. I unfortunately I got a bad lawyer. There's some amazing lawyers, and I have some friends of mine who are amazing lawyers, and this is what they do all day long. But this particular lawyer, I said, there's no way you're getting your full fee when you did nothing. I said, I'm going to give you this. And I said, I have all the documentation of how I did all the work and you did squat. I did give him a fee, but it was not what he was asking for. And that is the last time I ever used a lawyer for lease negotiations. I became really good at understanding leases, that at this point, I negotiate all my leases and including my renegotiating on leases and sometimes renegotiating in the middle of the lease. And I am currently paying less rent now. I'm in my 11th year of this new lease I just renegotiated. I am paying less now than I was paying when I first took the space. Certain things came to light that needed to be adjusted, fixed, and so forth, and the landlord was super happy. And the reason I was able to negotiate such a incredible lease is because I showed them that I'm not just their tenant. I am looking out for the best interest of the building by informing them on certain things that were not up to code, up to certain areas that they needed to be careful on. So they value who I am as a tenant, but also the fact that I pay my rent on time, the fact that I communicate with them on a regular basis. And so, what my advice to you is don't sign anything until you personally, even if you do not understand it, make notes on those parts of anything that you before you sign. If you don't understand it, go and get clarity. Clarity is going to save you a bundle. It's going to save you a commitment that you may not be interested in even getting into. If you're interested in having a discussion with me, I've created a new website. It's really simple, sifurafael.com. Come to my website. Let's talk. I can help you even understanding not only negotiation, but how to really take your business to the next level, how to find money where there is no money, how to negotiate even with your employees, how to get your employees into a different area of understanding, how to even make sure you have an employee handbook because it protects them. It makes them feel more comfortable. Yes, you're protecting yourself, but it also protects them so that you keep your end of the bargain. I believe that we're in the age of a handshake no longer counts. For me, it does because my word is my bond. If I tell you I'm going to do something, well, I'm going to be doing something in your favor or even in my favor. I will make sure that I'm clear on what it is that's going to transpire between us. So a contract is nowadays is super important. Everybody wants to go into litigation. Everybody wants to know to get their day in court. And if we do it properly, if we negotiate it correctly, we don't need to go to court, my friends. We don't need to go to court. We just need to get everything out and done correctly. Don't get me wrong, there are times where you have no choice. You have to go to court. But if you've aligned everything, if you also the other thing about, negotiating your lease is that, it doesn't stop after you sign it and you both parties agree. You have to keep documentation as to everything that happens, so in case you have to go back and negotiate that lease. So if you're interested, let's have a conversation. So my tip for you today is don't sign anything until you fully understand what it is you're signing. We live once. We make mistakes countless of times, but it is important for us to understand that those mistakes can be costly. And the mistake of signing a lease and a gym membership, one of the things that we have is when I sign a gym membership with someone, I if I'm signing up to be a gym member, I read it fully. If somebody's signing up to be my member, sign it. I go over it with them line by line if they need that to be. I think that's an important aspect that we need to make sure that we're clear as to what we expect them as a member, what we expect from them. And so I've done that with clients. I've done that as a client. Read, read, read. And if you don't read and you just sign on the dotted line, you must abide. You must abide. And if you don't feel like you have to abide, then you can go to court. But guess what? What's the judge going to say? Is this your signature, Mr. or Mrs. or Miss? Yes. Then you agreed to the terms. I did back then, but buts don't work in court. You signed. The only way you get a but allowed is if you have documentation as to how they broke the agreement. That's the only way you can bring something to court and win. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate you. Do yourself a favor, read everything. I love reading, even things I don't understand because I want to learn. I want to understand. If I go right, listen, if I go and read something, it could be here. I take notes all the time, constantly taking notes. I'm always taking notes, writing down numbers, seeing diagrams, whatever it is. I'm not kidding. It's consistently taking notes on everything. Sometimes it's just scribble so I can transfer it to somewhere else. But before you get into a verbal agreement, too, make sure both parties understand and even write it out. And even if you scribble it, email it. Email the scribble, email the documentation because that's your proof right there. And you say, if you agree, here's a simple one, right? Even if you are doing something with a friend, you say, hey, I'm going to send you an email on that. If you agree, just send it back to me and just say agreed. If something happens, that email is your documentation. Always know what it is you're getting into. And if there is somewhere for you to sign, don't sign. Not right away. Sign when everything is clear. Thank you so much for being here with me. I enjoyed your time. Um, the last time some of you reached out to me, I enjoyed the time that we spoke. So thank you for that. Reach out anytime. Once again, you can connect with me at sifurafael.com. I look forward to seeing you on the next show. Do yourself a favor. Read. Yes, Michael Duffy, we have to read. Thank you, buddy. We do have to read everything. Do not sign a thing. Thank you for joining me, buddy. I appreciate you and everybody who's ever been here and who even made a comment. So I appreciate that. Have yourself an exceptional rest of the day. Take care.